Hello and welcome to Edmond Spotlight. I'm Anita Berry, and joining me today is Edmond Police Chief Bob Ricks. Thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate it. Chief Ricks, you have been with the police force here in Edmond for almost 7 years. Is that correct?
Right.
And can you tell us a little bit about the department?
Well, we have what we think is the best department in the state. We right now we have 112 officers. We have a total of 142 total employees, which includes animal welfare. We believe we are the best equipped, the best trained department in the state.
That's awesome. You know, I think that when people talk about Edmond in particular and what a unique, special community it is, there are a couple of things that always come to mind. And those are our schools and how well they are run, and also how safe our community is. And I think that you're the best to speak to that.
Yeah. What we think is when people are looking for a community, obviously, first thing they want to make sure that the kids are going to go to a good school, but also that the kids will be safe when they're there. And then, of course, then economic opportunities. And we think Edmond offers all of those three items, particularly when it comes to safety. Last year, the FBI issued its uniform crime reports, and it found that of approximately 300 and some odd cities, of cities above 75,000 in population, Edmond was the 10th safest city in the United States. So we are extremely safe. When we look at all crime, and that was violent crime, we're 10th. All crimes were 33rd out of 300 and some. So we're definitely in the top 10%. But when it comes down to being really feeling of safety, that is a violent crime area, we come out amongst, obviously, the safest cities in the United States. And that's not an accident. We work extremely hard in trying to drive those crime rates down. One thing you'll see when you're in Edmond, you're going to see high visibility of police officers. I've had people say, I wish we had as many police officers in Oklahoma City as you have in Edmond. And then I explained to them that actually they have about 45% more officers in Oklahoma City than we do. But our philosophy is we want those officers out on the street. We're very streamlined with regard to bureaucracy. We want our officers out there capable of responding very promptly to any issue that occurs. We also work very closely with the community to identify any crime areas. We divide up our city into districts. We have officers that are assigned to those districts. They, in fact, own those districts. They're there to solve any crime problem that would occur within their district.
Wow, that's awesome. You mentioned just a minute ago about the response time. Can you speak to that a little bit about the average response time?
Our goal on emergency calls, and that's where, there's serious damage to property or potential harm to life or serious injury. Our goal is always to respond within 3.5 minutes once that call is dispatched to us. And we do that by having our officers, as I mentioned, in districts so that they're already pre-positioned to be able to respond and to respond very rapidly. It's extremely important that people know when something is going to happen, you're going to have an Edmond police officer either knocking on your door or responding very rapidly. Our mission statement is trustworthy service. When something happens, we want the people of Edmond to know you will have an Edmond police officer there to help you with your problem.
Okay, 4 minutes sounds like an incredibly quick time to me. Is it? I mean, how does it compare?
When you compare with other cities, we do extremely well. I can't give you the exact times of other cities, but we take part of our low crime rate that we have is things that we have learned nationwide when we look at cities that have been able to maintain a low crime rate is that they don't let minor things become major things. We even treat minor crimes very seriously. So even on minor crimes, when you call the police, we're going to be there, and we're going to be there very rapidly. We don't want something to escalate. A domestic situation where people have an argument can all of a sudden turn from an argument to a violent confrontation very rapidly. So on one of those, we're going to respond very rapidly. I know looking in the metro area, we believe we have the fastest response times of any police department in the metro area. And again, it's extremely important to us for the public to know that we're going to be there and we're going to respond extremely rapidly to any situation that might evolve.
Wow. I think that would make makes me sleep better at night knowing that. That sounds really, really fast. Something you also mentioned a moment ago was the police academy. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? Because that's something that's new and exciting that you all have going on right now.
Yes, we had asked the legislature in Oklahoma to give us the authority so we could run our own police academy. And we say, why is that important to us? Well, the statewide standards are minimum standards that are recognized as meeting the standards that are necessary to be a police officer. We believe in Edmond, though, we have much higher standards than just the minimum standards. We elevate those standards to the highest level that any police department has, and particularly in Oklahoma, but we think we favorably compare with any other community. The people who put on the academy thought that our standards were probably higher than any police department in the country. So we were able to start from the very beginning to inculcate our people in our culture, the Edmond way, we call it. We want them to learn the Edmond way. We're going to be there. We're going to be very professional. We're going to be very courteous. We're going to be highly trained. We're going to be highly equipped. And we're there to handle any problem that will occur to a resident in Edmond.
Okay, that's incredible. I think that's a really neat deal that you guys are doing, and I appreciate that. And something else that I think flows into that is, you're mentioning you're courteous, you're visible. One of the areas I think that is most seen is within the school resource officers. I mean, there is such a presence with your officers, but you're not just there, you are really forming relationships and partnering with these students and families. Can you talk about that?
Right. It's a very serious commitment to us. We only have right now 112 officers. We're authorized 116, but because of budget cuts, we're down to 112. But I have not taken away from the school resource officer position because I believe it's so important. Right now we have 6 full-time school resource officers. We have 3 high schools in Edmond. We have 1 in each high school. We have 2 in the middle schools that cover all the middle schools. And then we have 1 for the Boulevard Academy. That's an alternative school where people need a second chance. So we have 6 full-time officers, which is a huge commitment. But it's very important to us for us to develop those relationships very early on with our young people, to know that police are not their enemy, that they are there to develop relationships with them. If they have problems, they can go, and that's why they're there. They're there to solve problems. We also want them, if they do have information that someone wants to do harm in the school, that they can contact an officer. We recently implemented a program called Text a Cop, or Text a Tip, which is if there is criminal information, they can call 625-TEXT, and they can immediately get a hold of a detective in the Edmond Police Department and describe a problem that may be occurring so they can remain anonymous. Okay. But on the school resource officer position, they are there full-time to help with the students there. They're not considered there as an enemy. If there are actions that need to be taken, they will take them. But the whole purpose is to try to prevent any criminal activity from taking place before it does. So they're there for a preventive measure rather than there just to trying to catch people doing something wrong.
Right. And that may change some of these students' ideas. If they did think, that the cops are there out to get us, maybe having those relationships with those students, maybe they in turn will grow up and go, they were the good guys. They were on my side. Chief Ricks, I really appreciate you joining me today, and I just want to thank you for all that you and your department do on behalf of all of us and keeping us safe. If you'd like more information about the Edmond Police Department, you can go to www.edmondok.com or visit us at edmondspotlight.com. Thank you.